Hey, everybody. Welcome to episode 124 of the Overlap podcast, which is a quick hit podcast.
It is.
Good morning, Keith.
Good morning.
So, sitting here, Sid Sexton, Keith Kleins, with a quick hit podcast of the Overlap podcast. In the Overlap podcast, we discuss and study the overlaps between work, fitness, family, faith, parenting, and leadership, with the mindset that becoming better in one aspect of your life helps you become better in all aspects of your life. And we simplify big business brilliance for small business leaders. So, what we decided to do in our quarterly meeting I think it was our annual meeting to get the year started is we eat our own cooking when it comes to EOS, which is, if you're not sure what EOS is, I think we've got 5 or 6 episodes on that. But EOS stands for the Entrepreneurial Operating System. It's based on a book by Gino Wickman called Traction. And it's essentially how you organize your business. It could be how you organize your life. It could be how you organize your nonprofit or anything else. But how do you organize activities and people to get a desired outcome? And in that process, we go through a thing called a VTO, which stands for a Vision Traction Organizer. And in the one of the core things, well, not the core thing, the first thing, and maybe that's the core, is establishing your core values. And we decided that we would, expose ourselves, or that sounded terrible, expose our audience to our core values if you'll just sit with us a little, through this. I'm glad this is not on video. We experimented with that, but number one, we don't look good on camera.
Yeah, that's why we don't.
I got a face for radio.
I've got to get better posture.
Yeah. But we wanted to talk about our core values, and we wanted to sort of just put them out there. God, just this context. We wanted to put them out there so you could think about your core values. If you haven't established them, if you're not running on EOS and whatever, but if you're running a business, if you're in a business, if you're leading a business, if you're leading a family, what are your family core values? What's your purpose, cause, and passion? What's your 5-year target? What's your 3-year plan?
What's your personal core values?
That's what I'm talking about. What's your
what
family's?
Do you value?
What's your family's plans? What's you and your wife's or your spouse's plan in 5 years? Where do y'all want to be? But all of that starts with core values, and our number one core value, you might have been able to pick it up, and if you haven't, I'm actually okay with that. I'm kind of when it comes to this topic, I'm way more of an attraction rather than promotion kind of guy, where I want you to understand that I'm a man of faith by how I behave, not necessarily by what I say. And so our first core value is
faith. Yeah, I think it's always good to not spout out at the mouth about faith and to show it in your daily life.
If you're Chris Bell that speaks so eloquently like he does and doesn't use the word expose ourselves in the middle of, he can get away with that, and he really does, kind of behave that way all the time.
Well, and that's kind of his purpose.
It is. God kind of came down and touched that dude,
and he's done that.
You can do this.
And so another thing that we talk about is unique abilities. And so if that's your unique ability, great.
Yeah. Sing it, brother.
Yeah. But
I don't know if it's mine because I had to struggle to kind of get there.
So I think Jesus himself didn't talk about himself all the time. He showed it.
Yeah.
In his actions.
Woman in the well.
Woman at the well. I mean, look who he hung out with.
In the well.
If you looked at who Jesus hung out with, he hung out with 12 dudes, reprobates.
Yeah. That's a big word.
That changed the world.
Can you tell me what a reprobate is?
Well,
Is that a criminal? What is that?
A criminal? Okay. I mean, some of them were criminals. Some of them had killed Christians.
Murderers?
Yeah.
Okay. That's a reprobate. Got it.
Yeah. So yeah, if you look at Jesus himself, he didn't just go around telling how great he was. He showed compassion. Yeah. How about do that?
Yeah.
In your faith.
You got a great t-shirt that just says compassion.
I know, and every time I wear it,
I know, I laugh.
People wear me out.
Yeah. So faith is our first core value, and we describe faith as it pertains to the Overlap podcast, as our faith is the driving force behind everything we do. We believe that faith in Jesus is the most important growth that anyone can pursue. Now, look, maybe you don't believe that. Maybe you are not on the same path that we are, and that's okay. I'm not sitting here saying, turn it off now if you don't believe the same that we do. I hope that I started off the podcast by saying that, I would rather attract you to our way of thinking than, ram it down your throat. But since we're talking about core values, stop it. Since we're talking about core values, we needed to start with the first one. And I think it really comes down, for me, it really comes down to me, and especially when we're talking about, lots of times we're talking about leadership topics, and it's important for me to understand that there is something greater than myself.
Definitely so.
There is something greater than myself. There is a God, and it's not me. There is a reason that things happen. There is a reason that all of the things that have happened and that are happening and that are to happen to me are for a reason. It's my job to interpret what those lessons are to be and to line myself up as best I can with God's will. So I can be so I can really kind of play out whatever role that he has for me. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, if I could, allowing me to use my unique abilities to make the world a better place.
Right.
Like, that's what I think it's about.
Yeah.
And I can't wrap my head around not having a creator of the universe that I see every day.
I can understand how people will tell themselves that. I do not see it that way, but I can understand how people want to see it that way. My dad, he died. I still don't really know if he ever really was a believer. He was just an engineer, scientist kind of guy, and fact-based, and when you die, it's just over. And I was like, man, I don't know, dude. I don't know that, what kind of science other than, mechanical engineering did you look into? Because I think everything else seems to point to that. But that's my interpretation, And it took me some time to getting there,
Yeah, me too. I mean, there's been moments in my life. I grew up in a pastor's house.
Oh, yeah, that would turn me off immediately.
I grew up in a pastor's house. There's definitely been times I've said, is this real?
Is this and what kind of God would cause all this chaos and heartache and stuff? And that just is easy. It's easy. It's low hanging fruit. I think it's easy to say that. And I think it's pretty shallow pointed until you dig a little deeper and go, okay, there's lessons inside of all of that. And there's good inside of all that. You just have to see it. But that's our core value. Faith is the driving force behind everything we do. We believe that faith in Jesus is the most important growth that anyone can pursue. And we're obviously a faith-driven podcast and a growth-focused podcast. And when you're searching out your alignment with God, my alignment with God and his will for me, I think that's when it puts us on a growth path that we're not afraid to take the next step. We're not afraid to do what we're called to do. And I think that's what this podcast is all about.
Thanks, Sid and Keith, for allowing me this opportunity to explain why Pro 356 Consulting is back, again, sponsoring and supporting the Overlap podcast. Number one, I just have found that this is a great podcast, that I share your values of the overlap concept, and I have found just so many great nuggets from listening to you guys. Number two is, I remember when you approached me at Hatch about starting a podcast, and I said, hey, that's why we built that podcasting studio at Coastal, and you guys took it up, and here we are. You've done 100 broadcasts, and now you're on the way to 200. And lastly, I just want to say that I just appreciate the way you guys do business, and I want to associate with you. So Pro 356 is glad to be back as a promoter and sponsor of the Overlap podcast.
Hey guys, this is Keith. Let me break down a scenario for you. Are you a business owner that is overwhelmed by the options of investing, but you're being told you need to invest in retirement, you need to invest in mutual funds, you need to buy some single stocks? Well, I have your fix. C2 Wealth Strategies, ran by our friend Wes Cody. Their website is c2wealth.com. If you are looking at investing at all and are confused by it, give them a call today. They will be happy to handle whatever you need. He's brought up very specific things that I need to be working on as a business owner in my investing life. Let him do that same thing for you. c2wealth.com, or go to the overlaplife.com page and click on sponsors.
Perfect. Let me tell you about one of our sponsors, Chris Drogmiller. He's with CMD Fencing. One, I really appreciate his support to the podcast. He listens to the podcast, but long before that, he has done several projects for me at my home, at our business, and the dude just does an awesome job. One of the things I really like about him is it's basically just him and someone that helps him. His attention to detail is phenomenal. The work is always high quality. If you've ever had a fence built, you know that the gate itself and how it opens and shuts is kind of the stamp of quality. It always works well. I've made him make some interesting kind of fencing where it's all horizontal. He had no problems with that, did a great job. And the guy is freaking awesome. He's easy to work with and he does a fantastic job. He's a firefighter. So, you know, he works 2 days on and 2 days off. So he comes in and knocks my project out on the days that he's off. And the dude's awesome. You can find him on our website, overlaplife.com. You can find him on Facebook, CMD Fencing. And let's see, his phone number is 901-484-5546. So if you need a fence, need some fence work, call Chris Drogmiller, CMD Fencing.
Yeah, absolutely. This is what I read this morning, and it was pretty cool. Okay. So I'll read this.
He's got his readers on.
It says, in grace, he leads you where you didn't plan to go in order to produce in you what you couldn't achieve on your own. In these moments, he works to alter the values of your heart so that you let go of your little kingdom of one and give yourself to his kingdom of glory and grace. What I got from that is this. And if I get to the end of my life and none of this is true, I'll be okay with that because it's made me a better human.
Yeah.
And people ask me all the time, why do you hang on to this Jesus thing? And because I hang out with a lot of people that don't believe.
What was the word you
used?
In faith. Or degregates?
Reprobates.
Yeah. Reprobates. Okay.
And so
hanging out with some reprobates.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I do. I probably equal one myself, but you know.
Yeah.
But I just live in, like, I believe that God has grace for me.
Yeah.
And so that's where I think that my faith has changed my life, is living for something greater than myself.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say other than that without sort of stretching and trying to make it seem like, because I'm not someone that knows the Bible back and forth, and I'm not anything like that, but I've had enough experiences in my life that has painted the picture so plainly for me that there is a God and it's not me. And I've kind of wavered on and off the path enough times to know that when I get lined up, my life goes fantastic. I feel good. Good things happen. I feel like I'm being a part of the world and I'm being productive and I'm being helpful.
I like to feel that I'm part of somebody's plan.
Yeah. And I'm okay playing a part. I don't need to run the show. I'm woefully unqualified.
Yeah. So this was my scripture today too.
Okay.
Furthermore, because we are united with Christ, we have received an inheritance from God. And this is the part I liked. It says, for he chose us in advance, and he makes everything work out according to his plan. And when I was saying I like to be part of somebody's plan, that's what I mean, is that I believe that God has a plan for me and you and everyone that he created, and that if we get in his plan, it's way better than our own. Yeah. And so when we live by faith, that's what it means.
Yeah. Yeah. So that's our journey, or our first step into sharing core values in our quick hit series. The number one core value that we have is faith. And I'll read it one more time. Our faith is the driving force behind everything we do. We believe that faith in Jesus is the most important growth that anyone can pursue. If you're not familiar with core values, give it a look. There's all kinds of stuff all over the internet. I'm sure that we're going to have some links in the show notes to EOS and some other stuff. But, give us some thought that I think it's an important aspect, or sorry to use the word core, but a core foundational idea that your life, your business, your family, everything should be based on foundational ideas, and that should be the filter in which you make your decisions and how you act. And I say that, man, if you're watching me, I'm not always like, oh, faith is my number one thing in this decision that I'm making. I'm not doing that all the time, but I come back to it enough to try to get back on track.
No, if you hang out with us at Jiu-Jitsu, you would definitely walk us away and say, those guys are reprobates.
Yeah, we're reprobates. We're trying to hurt somebody. Not always, not really, but sometimes. And we're telling crude jokes, and we're making fun of each other's mothers and all kinds of stuff, but it's fun. But at the core of it, we do understand that there is a God and it's not us.
There you go.
And we're just trying to do the best to play our part. God has definitely given us some gifts, and we're trying to use them the best we can to help as many people as we can. Hopefully we're doing a decent job.
All you got to do is have a little faith.
Oh my God. I did tell Keith we should have, oh my God, what is his name? George Michael's Faith. As we're coming into this podcast, and hopefully Austin has figured out a way to do that without getting sued. But yeah, when we were talking about this, I was like, man, that'd be the best intro music ever. All right. I hope you guys like the quick hit here. Hopefully you are inspired with going to look at your own core values. And if you got any questions, comments, concerns, keep the concerns to yourself, I guess. But questions, just hit us up on social media. We're on LinkedIn. We're on Facebook. We're on Instagram. Just reach out, ask some questions, engage with us as best you can, or as much as you would like. We really want some questions. If you got an episode or a guest, please let us know. Also, hit the subscribe button to our podcast wherever you're getting it, and then go ahead and rate it. Give us a 5-star rating and give us a little review. We'd appreciate it.
And since we're talking about the EOS core values, we're going to be at the conference, and we're doing a meetup there. So if you're there, come join us.
Thank God Keith remembered that. Yeah, EOS meetup. I think we're going to be teaming up with 90 too.
It looks like
I'm probably
it.
Letting the cat out of the bag before we've got that ironed out. But we're definitely going to do a meetup, and we're going to find a cool place. I think we've got a couple of things ironed out on that, almost ironed out, and we'll put that stuff out. And hopefully we'll have that out in the next couple of podcasts. So if you're not signed up for the EOS podcast, good luck. Maybe you can get in. But it's April
11th and 12th.
11th and 12th. All right. And with that, I think I'm out.
Peace.
Hey there. My good friend Steve Bousquet and his partner, Christine Era, the owners of Green Profit Academy, are super excited about a new product they've got coming out. If you didn't know, they're the authors of Profit First for the Lawn Care Business. And it's a book written by Christine Era. Steve plays a big role in sort of adding to that. But they've got that book. It's already out. But if you're an audiobook listener and you just learn better by listening, they've got the audio version coming out, and I think this is really cool. They've got Christine Era narrating the audiobook, and she does a really good job. I've heard some clips of it. It's pretty fantastic. And Mike Michalowicz, the original author of Profit First, he reads the foreword. And so they've got a book launch that's going to come out on their website, Green Profit Academy, and you should stay tuned for more information about that. They're going to have some giveaways. They're going to have some other special deals going on. But the book itself, the audio book, will come out September 12th. So please be on the lookout for that. And if you need some help with Profit First for your green industry business, please give them a call or look them up, Green Profit Academy. Thanks so much. Okay, guys, everyone knows if you're a business owner, a business leader, or you're just a person in the world needing help with accounting, you need a real partner. You need someone that that's going to listen to you and not just plug numbers in to make their job easy to do your taxes. At least that's what I want. I've been through a lot of accountants in my life, and I have yet to find one even remotely as good as Johnny Baranco. He's the owner of Baranco and Associates, and he's the kind of guy that really doesn't manipulate your books to make his job easier. He really is trying to give you insights into your business or into your financial planning world. Whatever your goals are, he's there to help. And so I just encourage you to give him a call. Baranco and Associates, look him up online. It's barancoandassociates.com and just see if he can help you. He really is the accountant that I recommend to everyone, even before he was a sponsor of the podcast. So please, if you need an accountant, just do yourself a favor and give him a call.